What's good, everybody out there on YouTube? This is your man Jet Set Shattuck, dropping some hot farraga on this mic. Today we're going to be talking about the Anbernic RG Rotate. This is something I've wanted to talk about for a minute. You guys have no idea how much I've been set back. But first, I need to go back to a previous video, which was the video I think I did on the Anbernic RG40XV, I believe. And in that video, I realized why people got into these little handheld emulation devices. First of all, it takes you back to a simpler time when games didn't prey on the player and they weren't made to be really monetized, but to be games. They may have been made to sell well, but they've been made to be played. Not, I guess you're sitting there wasting your time because they need player time on the game up, etc., etc. No, these are games meant to be played. They're fun. You get instant access to a ton of games if you know how to sell the 7 C's. And then on top of that, it was just a purpose-built device that helps mitigate the doom scroll. I really liked the Anbernic RG40XV, a great device, but I did begin to use it less and less, and that became an issue for me personally because I didn't want it to be a waste of space in my bag. On top of that, I didn't want to feel like I had wasted any money or time that I had invested into the thing. And sleep mode drained battery faster than I liked, and I couldn't just pick up where I left off. And what I mean by this is if you left on a perpetual sleep mode, it would just drain the battery. Like, you come back the next day and the thing is dead or close to dead. On top of that, I had to remember to save because of it. Modern gaming has gotten me so used to auto saves and stuff that I forget that a lot of these games that came out back in the day didn't have it. I mean, I've been playing Mina the Hollower. That's a really hard game. I'm glad that it has auto save points that I don't have to think about saving. That's the biggest thing. When I have to think about it, I hate it. But on top of that, the device was easy to carry around when you had a bag, but I couldn't pocket it at work or just in general. Like, if I wanted to go out without a bag, I could not bring the thing with me unless I'm like staying in the car or something, because it's just too large for that. It was big enough to be decently portable in a bag, but too big to basically, be pocketable, at least in my case. Yes, you can put it in your pocket, but I realized the further along I got and the more stuff I had to carry in my pocket, the more I was getting annoyed. I carry my phone, I carry at least one pair of headphones, if not two, and then on top of that, I carry my wallet and I carry my keys. Now, I've downsized my wallet currently. I don't have as many things on my keys as I did beforehand, and while I try to stick to one pair of headphones, the thing didn't have Bluetooth, so that convenience kind of just got erased. So I still had to carry 2 pairs of headphones if I wanted to hear what I was playing in the game, because you don't always just want to be out in public having the thing blaring, and I like to listen to what I'm playing. Audio is a very important component of the game for me. It doesn't matter what I'm playing. So it just kind of killed the device usage for me. When I first got it, I think it was because I had got it at a time where it was really convenient, but I got into busier times, eras, and was doing more stuff, and it became less and less viable as, a gaming handheld in my eyes, especially after the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, which became my bag handheld of choice. But we're gonna see how the Anbernic RG Rotate kind of fits into my life, and specifically my everyday carry, because I use this thing damn near every day, multiple times a day, sometimes for more than 30 minutes, an hour, or even 2 hours. So let's see how it fits in. All right, hopefully this is my last time recording this. I've had so many issues recording this because of the audio, but I want to talk about how this thing fits into my EDC and really just how it transformed everything, my gripes with it, and then like what it does right, and like why I'm trying to recommend it despite my issues. So first of all, I want to say, like, my EDC or my everyday carry was it's basically defined by like the music audio player and the headphones and stuff I carry and the gaming device I carry. So really, like, prior to the RG Rotate existing, it was kind of this. And really, even then, like, it had whittled itself down to just this. Now, the RG40XV is actually a really good device, but like I said beforehand, it just became harder and harder to use in like short bursts. Well, I did use it in short bursts at home or when I was out and about, not at work. At work, I couldn't really put this thing in my pocket. I do like 20,000 to 30,000 steps a day. Today I did like 30 flights of stairs, and just having this thing in my pocket is cumbersome. It gets caught on things in my pocket. It just weighs down my pants. It's just not useful in that regard. Now, that's not to say that this thing isn't, you know, just as heavy or even heavier, but the density of it makes it a lot easier to have rather than this, which, you know, just kind of protrudes out of my pocket and stuff like that. I like carrying it in the bag, but otherwise it's hard to use or keep in your pocket unless, you know, you're doing something casual, like you're going to Walmart or you're going to get your oil changed or something like that, or you're going to, like, you know, a doctor's office or something. So it whittled itself down to this, which is my Meechin H1 Pro digital audio player and my Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I love this thing. It's just that the battery life sucks. And the RG Rotate was actually advertised as being a digital audio player, as well as, you know, just your general gaming device that you need, especially for, you know, retro systems. So we removed this. And then we also have my earbuds up here, which I think this, making this work and this work actually is what I think brings it all together. So first of all, I have an S22 Ultra. So this dongle actually forcing me to use it actually forced me to use my earbuds with my phone more rather than just going to my Galaxy Buds 3 Pro. On top of that, this has Bluetooth, it's Android, so it just works well with it. Which, I mean, it wasn't a problem with this either, but when you had, you know, say for instance this, and even though this is connected to this, it gets difficult connecting them sometimes. It just all around worked well. I do have some gripes with the RG Rotate, but before I go into my gripes, I want to show you guys how I have it set up. So first of all, I'm using Cocoon, wrong one. I'll talk about this, but here's the right one. So I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. It actually is one of the gripes I have with this thing because this is my second one. So first of all, I have it set up with Cocoon and I have it set up with a digital clock now. Now I will say this, Anbernic has been updating this thing. Since I've gotten it, there's been like 3 major updates, which I actually really am glad for. But I wanna show you how I have it set up. So first of all, I have a digital clock. Then on top of that, I'm using Cocoon as my front end over anything else. I wiped all the emulators and I actually wiped, I think, the original Anbernic like simple launcher or whatever that sends you straight into the emulators, though you are forced to have like, I think, the RG home launcher, which is like your standard Android launcher. But, you know, with, you know, ignoring that, I have it set up for me. On top of having it set up with Cocoon, I use Musicalet, which is, or Musicalet, I don't know how to exactly pronounce it. I think it's Musicalet, with as my music player, because the one that was built into this thing, especially the one that Anbernic put in, the little cassette player shit, was fucking stupid and it sucked. So use this, use something like Retro Music, which is what I use on every other device. Like this thing uses Retro Music, which I prefer to Musicalet, but Musicalet is also pretty good. I just prefer Retro Music. It just doesn't fit properly on this 1x1 screen, which is I think an issue with Retro Music, not an issue with this device, because some apps do scale weirdly on Android. But overall, I have it set up so that it works for me. First off, what are my gripes with this thing? First thing is the screen does not always rotate. It's just way more, I think, finicky than I thought it would be in that regard. Like, I don't know what I expected. I just expected to kind of work 99% of the time, and it works more like 90 to 95% of the time, which, I mean, it sounds like, you know, there's not many issues with it, but it's kind of frustrating, especially when you're hopping back into a game like I just did from not playing a game. So on top of that, the screen is a lot more fragile than it lets on. This broke and it still has the screen protector on. The screen protector has not broken. As you can see, the screen protector itself is not broken. It's the screen underneath. Actually, if I try to pry it off here, you could probably see that the screen protector is fully, if I can get my finger in the race, the screen protector is actually fully intact, just as this one was on the other one. I just removed it because I couldn't put it on all the way the right time, and it had like a little air bubble and it was bothering me, so I'm probably gonna buy another one. But it comes with a tempered glass screen protector. I just don't know how this was possible. I kept it in what is functionally a suit vest pocket, and I just don't know how it broke. I really don't. And that's what worries me about this thing, is that this broke in a suit vest pocket with nothing hitting it, nothing else in the pocket, just the device. What is gonna happen to this one? Because I keep this thing in my pockets all the time. And I don't wanna like disparage the device. Maybe it was my fault, but I'm just gonna say this. I think it's a lot more fragile than Anbernic has let on. That's all I'm gonna say. On top of that, the software for this thing is just kind of buggy all around. So if you notice, I have like multiple chargers up here. My desk is basically super fucking optimized, so I can have whatever I want, whenever, whatever. Maybe I'll make a video on that. Let me know if y'all want to see that down in the comment section. But basically, this thing is just like, it's finicky with chargers. If the charge rate is too high, it doesn't automatically switch it down. I mean, it does cap it off, but it winds up getting buggy. So the first thing that happens is Google Play services crashes, and then everything Google related crashes. Then eventually other apps will not open, and then eventually Android restarts itself and the device restarts itself. On top of that, there's a chance of it basically shutting off instead of restarting. And with that, you'll have to open it up and actually unplug the battery and plug it back in. First time this happened to me was at work. I had literally been playing in my car before I went into work, and then I went into work about an hour or so later. I was like, oh, let me play it, and it just wasn't turning on, even though this was basically at like 50%. I knew it should not have been dead. And then it wound up being that I had to unplug the battery, so I had to unscrew it at work, which I'm glad I keep a precision screwdriver set on me. But niggas are not like me. Not every nigga's trying to be Batman. I'm just saying that that shouldn't be an issue at all. It's happened at least 3 times. 2 of those I think I have recorded. Like, I was recording this video, I think initially the first time, and it happened to me right then and there. I put it on the charger because I was like, hey, let me put it on the charger for the video, blah, blah, blah. I think it'll look nice, and it happened. That's why it's not charging here. But I will say, I feel like Anbernic will eventually fix it. I hope they do. I feel like they should not be relying on something like Gamma OS to basically fix their fuck ups. I think it's ridiculous to have to do that. I buy a product, it should just functionally work. Maybe it's because I've changed the front end on this shit, but I feel like that shouldn't be an issue on an Android device. The one thing that Android devices across the board are good for is for being able to customize the front end and the launcher and making sure everything is tailored to what you need, which I feel should not be an issue on a device like this. This is the first time I've ever seen something like that on any Android device I've owned, whether it be tablets, phones, this little digital audio player, fucking watch. This is the first time I've ever seen it. I just want to give you a heads up. There's also no headphone jack, and for a device that was basically advertised as being a digital audio player, I think that's asinine. I actually think it's kind of false advertising in a way, because this thing is not really intended for music, or at least the highest quality music right out of the box. You either have to use headphones, which is fine, or my bad, true wireless headphones, which is not bad, or, you know, some type of Bluetooth headphone like I have these Marshall Majors here. But if you want to get the highest possible audio quality, objectively, you need to be wired in. And now you have to take out the DAC. The DAC has to exist outside of this. And the reason I don't like this is I've opened this up. There's enough space. There's just no excuse to not have a headphone jack. And running it back here, I mean, it's fine and dandy, but like, I feel like that shouldn't be the standard for something that's a digital audio player. So I really feel like if they re-release this or update this with like a Plus or Pro, that needs to be fixed immediately. No excuses. There's also no way to turn off this clock face for the lock screen. I think I mentioned that before. I think this is an issue because if you're using it as a digital audio player, less a problem when it's a console. but more of a problem as a digital audio player, because you don't get like the little music controls on here. So if I try to play something here, unless this changed in the update, this is a little, you know, lo-fi BGM from Curaga Records. I think it's Kingdom Hearts playing. Like if I go to the lock screen, there's no playback. Whereas if I'm on something like, say for instance, my Android phone, which I'll pull up here, like even if I'm just watching something like David Does Tech Stuff or Macho Nacho's Productions, or let's play like a Digital Foundry video, right? If I close my screen and I hit this, correct? Like I should be able to hit play and pause without basically opening the phone up and unlocking it. It's just ridiculous that that isn't accessible on this device, again, as an Android device. It's just ridiculous to me. Sorry, not sorry. Also, I feel like there should be an analog stick on this device. This is also the screen not rotating thing. If you notice, I think that's happened twice in a row. But like, if you haven't noticed, like there's no analog sticks, right? Which is fine and dandy, but this thing can play up to PS2 and GameCube. Not the whole library, but at least the light stuff, and I think even some of the medium stuff. Like, the fact that it can do that, it can play Dreamcast, it can play PSP, I feel like it should have an analog stick, especially because not only do GBA or GB games, like Game Boy games, look great on this thing, but basically anything you put on here, like any one, like this is as close to 1x1 as you're gonna get with any system. But let's say we wanted to play something like, let's say Sonic the Hedgehog 2, right? So let's say I boot up Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sorry, that's the one issue I have with, this is a RetroArch issue. This is less of a game issue, more of a RetroArch issue. So it's gonna try to boot automatically into RetroArch the way I have it set up. And I didn't want it, basically I didn't want it, how do I say, like closing out the game necessarily. But that does mean I have to close it manually in RetroArch, which is fine and dandy. It's fine, I don't mind it. But just know that's just how I have it set up. There's nothing, you know, wrong with the device or even like the emulators or anything. I have it set up that way specifically because that is how I like to play my games. So sorry, I just don't want to ever close like something like an RPG by accident. That's literally why that exists like that. I had it set up on this other device to do the opposite, like close in and out of games, but because of the way I think I closed FF6 while I was in the middle of something, and I was like, nope, not again. But as you can see, like 4x3 content on this looks amazing. Like it just looks really good. So, you know, the GameCube and PS2 are 4x3, so I feel like they should be accessible on this device in just a competent way. This can function as an analog stick, but it's going to be 8-way. It's not going to be true analog. And I think there's a button combination to make it act as an analog stick. And even within the little Android notifications shader, or shade, there's an ability to do a virtual joystick. Again, I just feel like it should have one. Whether it be a nub, a little circle pad, something. There's room. This can move up. Put them down here. Even if it's shitty, I just feel like for something like, let's say Final Fantasy X, it'd be fantastic, because guess what? That's a turn-based game. Like, come on, do this, Anbernic. I feel like you're leaving money on the fucking table. So with all my gripes out of the way, you should buy this thing. It's really hard to recommend unless you know what you're doing, but I feel like it is also just as plug and play. This thing is as difficult as you make it. So what I mean by that is that I did a bunch of bullshit, and because I did a bunch of bullshit, it might be fucked up because I never really liked it in the stock configuration. It just wasn't as smooth and as clean as I wanted it to be. And now maybe I'm paying the price, but like I said, I think that's just the lotto toss-up. This one that is broken did not have the same issues that I'm having on this one. So I think that's mostly a toss-up. If you're more of a person who uses their emulation handheld out of the box as is, or just uses anything you use as is, I think this still is a good device. Just if you're a tinkerer, beware of some of the issues that I said. The thing is extremely pocketable also. On top of that, the hinge feels really good. Like that shit, that feels fucking amazing. Like y'all don't understand, like it actually is genuinely good. On top of that, the buttons feel just really fucking awesome, man. Like y'all don't understand how much I actually enjoy using this thing. Like I find it despite the size, I find it super fucking comfortable. It actually reminds me a lot of say for instance a Game Boy Advance SP or a Nintendo DS. Like I didn't think that's what it would remind me of, but that's what it feels like. And I think that Anbernic did a good job on the button feel. If you don't like clicky buttons, you're not gonna like this. You know, this is crazy because this is like my favorite fucking 2D Sonic game as far as like what is it called, the classics are concerned, and really it's been one of my favorite Sonic games period for the longest time. But you know, I digress. It's just one of those things where I feel like they've gotten it right, especially if you're someone who likes clicky buttons and shit. Like I am someone who buys keyboards with like blue switches. I buy the kale whites. I get like the brown. So I like tactile and I like clicky. Those are the two types of switches and keys that I like. This scratches that itch. And I'm really glad they went with that instead of doing, you know, just the standard stuff, because it feels really good. The back buttons, the shoulder buttons feel really good. It doesn't have analog triggers. I don't think it should. This thing is just really awesome. You can change these two back buttons and it's easy to get in here. Like I think it's 4, I don't want to say torque screws, but like it's easy to get into. You can replace these. They give you replacements for them. I don't think you should replace them. I think you should just use it as is. If it's hard for you to differentiate, I don't find it hard. But if it's hard for you to, then use the race ones. I mean, it doesn't add that much space. I put them in there when I was at work, like on a break or something, and it took like 10 minutes. I had 10 minutes to basically take it apart, put it together, and take it apart and put it back together again. It's literally that easy. It's just one of those things where you don't realize how nice, comfortable, pocketable, and everything this thing is. It's like, it's peak handheld gaming, in all honesty. It also just has really good battery life as well. Like, it sips power. This thing has not been charged in like 3 weeks. 3 weeks. I think I charged it up again when I bought this one so I could get stuff off of it, and I wasn't able to get anything off of it. Like, I literally left it plugged in for like 2 or 3 hours to make sure it was charged, and then I was gonna try to, like, you know, screencast or something else, and it just wasn't working. So I just was like, fuck it, I'll restart all my saves and stuff, because I had it saved to the device instead of the card, which again is a me problem, a me issue, not an issue of the device. But still, the battery life is fucking amazing. This has been 3 weeks past. This thing I've charged maybe once or twice. You get like 8 to maybe like even 12 hours, depending on if you use like a battery saver mode or you use a really, really dim screen out of it, maybe even more of playtime. Then on top of that, it sips power in standby. That's why this has not died, because the standby time is comically long, like comically long. And that's why I like it. I mean, right now, I think it's probably gone down 10% because I've been playing and doing shit on it while we're, you know, doing this video. But otherwise, it really does not go down that fast, even when playing it, especially on lighter systems, older systems. Now, if you're playing Dreamcast, PSP, even GameCube or PS2, it's not gonna last as long. But if you're playing some light Android games or like some lighter systems like Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Genesis, Super Nintendo, NES, Atari Master System, you know, fucking Commodore 64, any type of bullshit like that, you'll be fine. But once you start getting the N64 and up is where the battery life starts draining. So I just want to let you know that ahead of time, but this thing's battery life is impeccable. On top of that, the screen is just really good if you haven't noticed. It's really sharp, it's really bright, and it gets really dim. So like, say for instance here, right? Let's max it out. This is bright as hell. Like, I know it seems bright in the camera and like the camera's blowing it out. It's not, obviously not, doesn't look like this to me in real life, but this gets incredibly bright. I've been able to play this thing in the sunlight. Like when it was cooler, like maybe a month ago, and instead of being like 90 degrees outside, it was 80. I went and sat outside on the fucking steps so I could get some fresh air at work, and I played this for a little bit. And guess what? I could see it outside in the bright ass sunlight in the fucking south. So it works. It's a good screen. And when, you know, I get home, I sit next to my girlfriend in bed, I lay down, and I want to play some like fucking Final Fantasy VI, some Chrono Trigger, some bullshit, turn down the screen brightness all the way. It gets super dim. And for something that's not an OLED screen, I think this is super impressive. Like, it's just, I don't even notice that it's really on, even when it's dark in the room. So it kind of like gets reminiscent of almost like a frontless screen, like the original Game Boy and Game Boy Advance screens. Like, just, it's great. I honestly really like it. It does like a 3x scale of most old consoles, anything that's like a 240p class system. 3x scale, really nice, especially anything 240p, perfect 3x scale. I think Game Boy Advance is a perfect 3x scale because of one of the axes. It's just awesome. And that's what I really do like about this. The device also just doesn't take long to charge because guess what? It has a small battery. It has a 2000 milliamp hour battery. That's why I was so surprised by the battery life in this thing. It has a small ass battery, and opening it up, it's really small. It's a small battery, and yet you get the battery life that. So all I have to say is, if you're really looking for something that can, I guess, just, I don't know, like amplify gaming in your life, like especially if you just need something that's pocketable, like a game, like an old style Game Boy Advance SP, I think you should buy this instead of getting like an Anbernic SP or a Miu Flip or anything like that. Get this. It'll do the Game Boy games a lot more justice. Like if I sit here, if I close this, like I think it'll do GBA so much more justice than any of those other systems, despite the black bars on the top and the bottom. But with that all being said, this is me, your man, Jet Set Shattuck. How do you guys like the top-down view? I'm gonna be working on it as time goes on to make it the best that I possibly can. I've got a whole separate mic for this, so please, a whole separate mic and a whole separate webcam. Or this is my original webcam that I was using for the longest time on the channel, but the other one is what I'm using now, is basically an upgrade and a side grade at the same time. With all my lights going off because it's sundown and they're changing colors and stuff, how do you feel about this device if you have one? I honestly feel like it's an amazing device. It's almost 8 o'clock, see? It's an amazing device. In all honesty, this is one of the greatest gaming devices I've bought. But I will say you can get some more out of it if you tinker. Just beware that the shit may just start fucking up. And just keep it real with you. That's just how it is. But with that all being said, this has been your man Jet Set Shattuck. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and remember, follow your boy on Twitter and join the Discord. Links as always are down below in the description. And also just, you know, tell me how you feel about this. Again, I want to do more top-down stuff. My Switch retrospective is going to be like this. But with that out of the way, remember, Hot Faraga turns to Cold Buzaga. Chill out some of my other videos. Peace, and have a good one.